Hold on.
Can you see me?
Yes, how you doing? Okay.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing all right?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
doing all right.
you all right?
Yeah.
Good.
Do you mind if I record this conversation? I'm not gonna publish it, but I'd like to watch or listen it back at some point because I felt like last conversation was really valuable and we didn't record it, and now it's
Of
gone.
course. Yeah, it's fine.
Cool, man. Cool.
No problem.
So there have been some developments. I've decided something. I'm going to commit to something. I'm gonna try to create my reality consciously. So I'm going to try to imagine how it would be if I had certain things I want, if I had the life I want, and
Yes.
I'm going to try to focus on the vibration of that, the feeling of that, and
Yeah.
I'm going to do it as long as possible. I'm going to train it as you would train how to meditate, and my end goal is to get that feeling out of nothing like that, and focus on it a few times a day, and hopefully it will attract situations, thoughts, impulses, and whatnot. And I do think that will happen. But yeah, I have a long road to get there. I feel like even saying that I have a long road to get there is already making it harder.
Well, here's a technique for you. Okay. If you're in a room and if you want to if you've got like 5 things you want, and you've got a dark room and you've got a candle, what you want to do is get the 5 things in your mind, blow, then light the candle. So you're gonna have to have a little bit of light somewhere. So you got the 5 things you want, light the candle, say the things, then blow the candle out. And what that's saying is, when it's lit, you're sending the information into the deeper part of recesses of your subconscious.
Right.
When you blow the candle out, it's like literally creating consciousness and subconsciousness. They got me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So when you use something at the side of the information, the information then will go in. But what's happening is it's not floating around on the conscious level, it's going subconscious. So you're using the candle as like a little doorway.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try everything. And I think by practicing that feeling for a long time, it will turn into a belief, I feel like. Because basically what beliefs are just thoughts that you've been thinking for a long while, and thoughts create feelings. So it's like an automatic feeling you have towards a certain topic.
Yeah.
But
Did you get to those videos or something? Yeah.
yeah, they were interesting. I actually knew the guy from the first video.
Okay. Yeah.
But to be honest, I've been practicing this a long time. So the things they were talking about, I already kind of knew. It's just I found my own way of doing it, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's fine, no problem.
I feel like you have some universal ways about going about some things, but you have to give your own spin to it.
That's right. So you want to what it is at your age, you want to kind of. It's very odd me looking back. Like this is a case of how it is. So it's a case of what you got to consider. You've got, like I said to you, you've got biology at play here, other than your mind. You can do whatever you want with your mind, but biology can kick in at any given moment. And this is the bizarre thing about it all. So you can have all the strength. You can have all the. I've seen the most powerfulest men on the planet be whittled down to like put it in the hands of a woman, for instance. The woman can disengage the man's mind power. So it is a strange thing, because you can get so much mental focus on what you want that you're leaving yourself physically barren. So it's a really it really is a case of practice. You sound to me like you know what you're heading for, but there's no way I can speed you up with it. I can only, like you say, just kind of talk with you as you're going along, because you're going to get, because all of us, whether it's man or woman, we all kind of hit the same kind of levels. It's no different than it was 100 years ago, 200 years ago. You know, it's only the technology around us that we think we're different, but we're not.
Right.
You know,
but I think it's easier for me than for you because you've lived longer, so you probably have more resistance towards certain topics because you have more experience with stuff. And I've less. I don't really have a lot of experience with a lot of stuff. So
no,
to me, a
that's
lot of
right.
it is new. You know, I do have some beliefs, but they're basically based on stupid fears, and I'm already aware of that. And I'm trying to do something about it. But the hard thing is, I went through some things at work again with the girls, so I decided to take some days off. And it was actually the first time that I was in my new home during the day. I would only be there in the weekends or at night, so that was really interesting. I actually had to connect with the house and stuff. And you know, in the beginning, it was a little bit hard because when I come from work, I usually go straight to the television or go straight do something to distract myself, you know. But
So
now,
stop there a minute. So why do you feel like you come into a empty home? What's it feel like?
I feel lonely, but first I thought I felt lonely, but then I realized I was thinking certain thoughts, and
Right.
that's why I'm feeling lonely. So,
You're filling your mind's filling the space in, then, isn't it? It's like
right.
an anxiety, and your mind's creating image. Do you read books or anything like that?
Yeah, I did, but the problem with me is that I've been doing that too much. You know, I used to be very alone. I had a few friends, but then at age 15, I began to fill that gap with knowledge and the
Right.
occult, and I got
No, I'm
myself
not. I'm not on about them kind of books. I'm on about like fantasy fiction stuff
right.
like that. Like,
Yes, I do
or
that. I've been doing that as well. Yeah,
yeah, that's very good because you can actually I'll tell you what you can get from fantasy fiction. You can get a perspective of the world from a different angle, like you looking through the back of a mirror.
right.
And it's a beautiful thing if you can get some kind of novelist you like. I mean, I like this novelist he's a bit dark on the dark side. He's called Clive Barker. He did a lot of books in the 90s and 2000s, but his imagination is phenomenal, you know. But all life's plays are in there, and what it does, it gives you a breather. It's like being on a planet, and it gives you a breather from a different perspective, from a different dimension. You see.
Right.
So there is things to be learned from that because then what you're doing is you're walking through you're in somebody else's shoes, experiencing life through their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But you can gather little nuggets of information that you think, well, I can see that, but as I'm in a fantasy world or a different dimension, it doesn't hold the energy doesn't hold with me because it's coming from being told to me from a different perspective.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
It does. But the problem with me is that I've been spending my teenage years doing a lot of
I
that.
can see what you're saying then. So
Yeah.
you've been kind of a bit of an introverted, too introverted. Now you
When,
want to be a bit more extroverted,
yeah,
right?
and it's not only that I want that; it's also that I'm feeling yearning to do that. But I don't want to do it from a place of I have to do. I have to. There are a lot of things I haven't done, so I have to do all of them now. You know, I want it to come from a healthy place. You know, because at one side I want to genuinely do it, but the other part of me wants to do it because everyone is doing it, and I feel like because I haven't doing it, I'm just not. You know what I mean. So I have to find a healthy balance with that. But the problem is when I spend so much time by myself at home for the first time, I'm actually managed to find an equilibrium. But the
Yeah.
moment you get outside and you interact with people or you go to work, you know, it's a lot harder to keep that equilibrium.
I will say something, Rowan. It's a thing you're going to find because I've listened to so many people over the years, and what happens is if you've got a space in yourself that goes into this world, this nether world, or your space, you'll always have this nagging feeling. Doesn't matter whether you get married and have 5 children, you'll always have this part of yourself that is yourself
Right.
because you're aware of it. When you're aware of it, you can't shut it down. You see, you can't fight it. It's there. So what you've got to try and do is kind of you'll meet somebody who's got similar kind of a way about them, where they might like reading as well as they want their own space in the space that you're sharing. Does that make sense?
Right.
If you get with somebody that's too clingy, they'll drain the life force. They won't even give you your space because you'll still need your space. And I'm not saying it from any kind of viewpoint, because I can hear what you like. I can understand like you say, you spent a lot of time on your own when you was younger, which I did. So I know that it's never gone away.
No.
It's even got stronger as you get older. Some people it does. With me, it's totally obstinate towards kind of getting too deep in with the relationships I've been in with. I mean, say I lived with women for like 20 years. It's like, did I commit to them? Did I get married? No, no, I didn't do it because I knew if I was in the house, I've been in the house with them like 2 months.
Yeah.
I was creating a room in the house so I could have my space, like a man shed or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of something. Some of us are like that, right? So don't look around and beat yourself up, mate. Go on.
I want to find a way to find that place internally, like you said. I don't want it to be dependent on something external, you know. I don't want to have to be in a room to feel safe. What I had, you know, I want to feel safe in the world, doing my thing, being myself, and I do know I can do that. If I get past all those thoughts and I actually go out, I all of a sudden feel this strength I don't feel when I'm with myself, you know. It's like I'm a little bit disconnected from myself, because how I think about myself is not how I actually am. But like I said,
when you think about yourself, are you saying when you actually get alone, is it a negative? Are you getting a negative voice feedback?
Sometimes, and I used to hear that voice when I was younger, and now I'm hearing it less and less and less. But it's still there, but more in a subtle way. But I begin to realize more and more that I'm not like that. I'm lovable. I'm fucking social. I'm really extroverted, you know. And when I was younger, I thought I was the opposite, and it's still a little bit there, you know, and I feel like because of that, I'm also attracting certain stuff still.
Unusual, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to change that. But it has to come from a place of relaxation, not intensity, not from an urge, you know. When you let go and you just trust everything will come, it will come. But if you're constantly looking around, is it there yet? Is it there yet? You're impatient. You're fucking complaining in your head all the time. That's what I have been doing less and less and less, but it's still working together. The concept
if you get your balance, Rowan. You get your energy, your balance, your happiness.
Yeah.
Even if it takes you 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
you get your happiness, right?
Yeah.
Don't look round at your peers, at other people, because I'm telling you, they'll all get wrong. If you're wise, before you know it, in 3 years' time, somebody might know something. They've had 2 kids, they've got divorced.
Yeah.
Simple as that. The mistakes people make, but if you can get your balance,
Yeah.
and then you'll meet somebody who knows their balance. Because if you keep thinking, like you say, I need this space, I'm looking around and this, that, and the other, you will get what you deserve, because you're asking for something you're not ready for yet. You've got to be. I've done it many times, and it's wrong because it falls apart at the end.
It's not even about deserving. It's just what you are is what you attract. It's not about good or bad. It's as simply as that, you know. But that's. Yeah, because like I said, with that girl, I projected all this shit on her, and then all of a sudden she was someone that could fill the gap, and it always ends bad, you know. And that's a trap you get into, because it feels so good for a while, and then it all.
Well, it's a strange, weird psychology name, projection. Everybody does projecting.
Yeah.
If I think in a minute I've got to go to the toilet, I'm projecting to go to the toilet, you see.
Yeah.
They've made it a buzzword in this day and age. You'd say projection is wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're in a relationship, a woman will project into you and you're projecting to the woman.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it's one way, fair dues, it's not right. But if no projection, you're not sending energy into each other, are you? That's not like creating a bond, is it? You know.
That's true.
What it is, Rowan, I can see from you guys, your age and stuff. For when I was in the situation, the confusion was I didn't have enough information. The confusion with you guys is you got too much information.
Right. It's way too much.
It's like you're swamped with information. I didn't have any information, so I made my mistakes, and I thought I didn't even have any answers at the end of it. Well, what happened there? And it's taken me years thinking, shit, that happened. I could see myself now, and it's a bizarre thing, you know, Rowan, because there is a fine line with this stuff.
And I shouldn't be afraid to make any mistakes. Also, you know, I just should go out and, you know, introduce myself and do stuff, you know. But yeah, I'm going to do it from now on. I'm going to work on my work. I'm going to allow the energy to balance, every day, and I'm going to act on my ideas that come from that energy and my impulses, and I trust that good stuff will come to me. Actually, I met with Shores yesterday.
Oh, brilliant! Oh,
Yeah,
great! Yeah, great stuff.
We had a Skype conversation, but the good thing is we are from the same country, so we are going to meet in 2 weeks.
Brilliant. Yeah, Source is a good lad. I'm speaking with him tomorrow, I think.
Yeah,
I'll speak with him in a couple of weeks, and get some good convos going.
Yeah.
He's moving forward pretty fast. Source is.
But he's also older, you know. He's like 29, I think.
Yeah. But he's you'll get on well with him. Obviously, you've had a Skype with him. You know what's what, and he said he's been away. I don't know where has he been to?
He went to this festival in France. And he was a fireman, as he described it. He did some kind of a ritual without drugs or anything, but I don't know, something with hexagons or something. And he was already doing the shaman thing a little bit. But like he's going to Peru, I think, in a few
in January,
months. And he's going to do a shamanic course there for a few weeks. So interesting guy, yeah. And I was actually thinking about doing DMT at some point, and he seems to have it, and I think I trust him, so I think
trust him. He's all right. He's all right.
He's a reliable source for that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do it with him if I ever plan to do it, But now I don't feel like I should do drugs. I need to.
You get your balance right first, because I'll tell you something. It can, like you said, if you've got that internal voice, if you have like marijuana and stuff like that. The voice expands, and me and Aaron spoke about this for weeks. So I'll speak to you about it, because we've got this voice. It seems to in everybody we talk to in this who are magnetised towards Aaron, because Aaron does his channel, I don't do it. So I speak with you guys off that. So we've all got this internal voice, and a lot of people and other people say they haven't got it. So there's something about this internal voice. It's almost like a higher self. But why is it negative at times? You see, because I got a great belief the negative aspect of this, like you said, the vibration is a case of consciousness has got lower forms of vibration and higher forms, and it works through us. So if you're thinking negative, you're thinking, well, where's that thought coming from? What's this? What wants to sabotage me? It's something. I mean, in no given right, is it? Your mind should want to sabotage your well-being, but it's as if to say, like we said, we're the receivers. And there's all these levels around us of these vibrational levels that want to work through us.
It has to do with vibrations, from what I understood. So when you get into lower vibrations, you attract lower thoughts. And the reason they feel bad is because they basically go against your real self, your higher self, what's basically love. So or content, And when and the opposite of that is feeling shitty. So it's like going against the current, and that doesn't feel good, and that's what you're experiencing. So the moment you feel a negative emotion, I know that I'm thinking negative without even being conscious of it, and I know I should quit it. And that's kind of like my guidance system, my emotion. I don't even have to pay attention all the time to my thoughts. When I feel myself getting negative for some kind of reason, I know I'm thinking in a certain way, and I stop it immediately, and it has been very effective.
Right. Well, I've been reading a lot. This guy does biology, genetics, and stuff like that. I've been reading that the last 2 weeks, so I'm coming from a different angle. I spoke to Aaron about it the other night, and I'll speak to you about it because it'll make some sense to you. Because we perceive that we are all love, right? But according to these systems that I've been reading, as we go back through the ages, we'll realise that man is not all love. Man can be a barbarian, right? And we've got to ask the question: where does this come from? So this guy's book is very interesting because he speaks about memetics. Do you know anything about memetics?
A little bit.
MEM. Yeah. So it's saying that the biology and the genetics drive the mind to create memetics, which is thought forms, which is like we're talking now. When you switch the video off, you'll have thought forms I'm telling you, and I thought forms you're telling me. So there's all these things at play, and he goes back in history, and he says that what happens is society will get to a stage where the men are asking themselves, I'm asleep, I feel like I'm asleep, I want to wake up, right? and then they'll go to themselves, why don't I feel the love? Why is it I've got these negative thoughts? So this guy says that in a society, if a society gets threatened with its food source, or its fuel source, or its economic breakdown, what will happen is other layers of consciousness rise up that are dormant. Might have been dormant for 50, 100 years. And they rise up, so the paradigm that you're living in changes. So it's almost a different level will rise up, these negative, like we said, a negative aspect, and then then a man can become a warrior or something like that. They become like, all of a sudden, like a primeval force rises, and everybody can't feel the good anymore. It goes, it vanishes. And it's as if to say that we all can say that we come from a point of love, but and he says another thing is, he said, to prove the point, he says that creation has made a failsafe that nobody understands, and he made a brilliant point. And what do you reckon to this? He said, if you had 200 women and 200 men, creation will destroy 199 men and leave 200 women. And the reason why is that one man can have 200 more babies, but if you got rid of 199 women and left 200 men, that woman can only have one baby every 9 months. Mm. So we are the disposable aspect of man and woman. The man goes to war, and it's never women in warfare, because we're used as we're dispensable. We are a dispensable one of the two, because creation can't carry on. You see, if there's one man and 200 women, that man could every day have sex every day, and there'd be 200 babies at the end of the year, probably more. Right. But if it's the opposite way round, one woman, 200 men, wouldn't work. Would just disintegrate.
Right. I feel there are like different layers to a human. So you have like the earth layer, the biological layer, and that's probably what you're talking about. But you also have the spiritual layer. I don't really like that word, but you know what I'm saying. And I do think our essence comes from the spiritual layer, and it gets mixed up with the primal layer of, sex, anger, all that shit, hormones, biology basically.
Yes,
so
yes.
It does have an effect on us, but it is then a question of what are we? Are we our bodies, our minds, or are we consciousness, are we all the spiritual stuff, or does it even exist? Because you have a lot of people who don't believe in that, and me saying that all that shit is real is also a belief basically, but I choose to believe it because the idea that I'm just an animal walking around purposeless, around the earth, that's just depressing, And
I'm going to tell you what you are, right? Because I've looked at this 1,000 hours. Like, if you look there's consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And all we're doing, we're here and we're receiving from consciousness. Right, say that's got a 7 billion strands, tiny hairs off it. We're just connected to that thing. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, that's the kind of like the collective consciousness. But there's layers in there. There's layers. There might be 6, 7 layers. I'm just making that. There might be 1,000. But there's lower levels of consciousness, which you can say demonic areas, and then there's angelic areas of consciousness. Then there's like the middle ground. But what happens is you think, and you'll receive back from that station that's transmitting the level of vibration that you want. It cannot go wrong, because it's impossible. Because if you think about it, it's like a radio. If you got on the radio 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you want to reach 10, because that's the highest receiving point from consciousness, you might be at the moment in 5 or 6. You know that you want to be in 10, but you know as well as me that I think what happens is, Rowan, that some way we can want all we want, but there's other forces at play here as well, because our previous kind of indoctrination and the previous information put into our minds from our parents is at play as well, deep into the drivers of the subconscious. So when you're having a negative thought, you could be at 9 on the scale, but you can get a thought in from 2, if that makes sense.
Right.
And that thought from 2 is not your thought; it's coming in from a different programmable level of the mind.
Right. I think, again, there are several layers to it. You have like the spiritual layer, and that's all about vibrations. But
Yeah.
there's because we are humans, we are in this dimension. There's always a correlation between the physical body and the spiritual body. So maybe it's true that from a spiritual perspective, you attract what you are, but you also have biological things to consider because we're humans. So some people maybe have genetic adversity, maybe are prone to depression for some kind of reason, or other problems due to biological things that go on in the body. So it's not. We choose to be here. I believe that we choose to be in this dimension to be human. So we have to deal with the fact that there has to be a perfect balance between the body, the mind, and the soul. If you could have a good soul connection, what I'm trying to do. But if you have a shit body, you're not exercising, you're eating badly, you're not really going outside or something. It will affect the spiritual stuff as well. So it's like you have to balance all those things.
Well, the word is then mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've already been told this. The mind, body, and spirit's got to be in balance.
Right.
So if you imagine the brain, the mind, or all our information has got to be in line with the spirit, which is consciousness, and the body's got to be in line with the three. Then you should get a balance, you see. But I can imagine, like you say, because what forces would I understand at play here? You see, we can bang on for the next 20 years, people kind of about the spiritual aspect of this level, but we've got to understand we're fighting because all the forces are at play in each country to not let us get out of this matrix, this kind of lower level vibration. Because if we do, then it's almost a case of the powers that be, and I'm not being like conspiracy here, it's a true known fact, that we are held in place by mind, by the minds of the overlords, by the governments and whatever. So each of us are born, when we're born, we don't know where we're going to end up. We could end up low-born, middle-born, high-born. High-born is born into a silver spoon family, millionaires. Middle-born, middle class. Low-born, poverty. And whichever layer of vibration to the first 10 years that you stay in down there, you'll find that if somebody's a multimillionaire when they're 40, but they was born in low vibration, right, low-born, you'll find later on in life that they'll lose everything because what they did, they gained everything from fear.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Again, I think there should be a balance between the three because, for instance, you have people like us, some of us who want to escape the matrix, but I feel like that comes from a certain disbalance as well, I don't know where the disbalance is in those three aspects, but there is a disbalance. I think ultimately the ideal picture would be having a balance between those three aspects and living a fairly healthy life, being of joy, of growth.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should try to strive towards that. To be honest, I don't want to talk behind someone's back, and you could tell Aaron this. I've been observing his videos for the last few weeks, and I noticed a little bit of change or something in his energy. I'm wondering how he's doing. You could tell that. For instance, when the woman came over from Portugal, you could clearly tell he was actually very happy, to have someone with him. And, I don't know, I feel like he's running away from a certain need he has, and he is talking about all these philosophical things,
Of course he is. What he's doing is he's filling the space that's in him that's empty, like me.
Right.
I'm exactly the same. I know him so well. He's like a kindred spirit, and what it is, it's because of his mum and everything. Yeah. And it's sad. It's sad, really. But this is what it leaves us with. It leaves us with a space, Rowan. But it gives us. But what it gives us, though, it gives us a very good gift. It gives us the gift of overviewing the world, But the other gift is a case of it can leave you. Here's a strange word, but not a lot of people realise that the kind of that suffer from this. So even I'm going to admit I suffer from this. Maybe I'm emotionally retarded. That's a very, very hard thing to say, but maybe I'm emotionally retarded. Maybe at a certain age, I didn't form emotionally whole. So it's like a hand that's like kind of a deformation on the body, on the hands or something like that. Maybe there's something in us that's like malfunctioned, and it can't, and it's a case of, can we learn this later on? I don't know, because certain things we can't learn to walk again, can we?
Right.
You have a walk within so many months and years at the beginning, and that's it.
What kind of problems do you have on an emotional level then? Did you always have them, or were they a result of certain things that happened?
Oh, well, obviously I told you about the drowning, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so obviously that's left me kind of mistrusting of humanity.
Yeah.
And if you're mistrusting of humanity, it's the worst thing you can ever have, because you're surrounded by that. And so I then become like you imagine, you look around and you look at everything's like a hive mentality.
Right.
I've never been part of it. I've always been to the side of it.
Right,
so what I did, I emotionally shut myself down. So I couldn't then feel, but now over the years I've learned to feel and get connection. But I must admit, up to like 30, 35, I mean, all my cousins, everything, I used to go out and nothing would faze me. Where it's a fight with women or anything, I could do anything. But the thing was, I wasn't thinking. I was thinking from the mind. I wasn't thinking from the heart. And then when
it was like a strategic or something. It was like you knew what to do, and
it was like this kind of. It was almost like some kind of a character. It was a character that I built.
Right, man. I think, yes, because when I was younger, I'm still young, I used to watch all these videos on the internet on how to pick up women and all these books and stuff. And I did learn a lot of things from them. But what I found was that when I just let go and just be myself, usually things go all right. You'll attract stuff. And I think that's maybe why we are attracting each other, or why we are forming as a group. I feel like that's maybe the last thing that's holding us back from really flowering. Because
we all need to heal. We all need to heal. You see.
Yeah,
I don't know how old you are.
I don't really think that this is the end stage. I feel like this is only a phase. And you can learn a lot from what you've been through, and teach other people as well, But if you could only open your heart at some point, I mean,
that's it. My heart's open at the moment. I'm talking to you, but what I'm saying is that in the past I didn't know it was shut.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, when I was like your age, I was like in a nightclub, and I was in other clubs and whatever. I had about 5 or 6 women on the go. I was around one house. Next night, I was down another. I was all over the place, and it was going on for years. And then all of a sudden, them problems coming on you. See, and you say, well, I was like a kid in a sweet shop, but it wasn't. I wasn't running from my heart. I was running from my head and the other bit,
Yeah. And my problem is, I want to do all those things as well, and I haven't been doing them, but I want to do them from the right place, and I don't want to drink and overcompensate and all that shit. I want to make maybe mistakes, but I at least want to do it from a good place, and I just want to do things right, and I want to strive to that. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting there, and talking to people like you is also a very good idea, I feel like. But what I've learned from letting go my problems is, when you talk about them all the time in a certain way, like, oh, I have been a lone wolf, oh, people don't understand me, oh, this and this happened to me. Okay, maybe that's true for now, but concerning your past, that has happened, you've learned from it. So it's not who you are, it's just something that happened, and you can choose to let it control you.
Yeah, well, as I'm talking to you, you'll realise that I might talk more. I might lower the tone, then I might speed it up, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull the two aspects apart. You see?
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that's not you, that's you. That's not you, that's you. Like tethering, like pulling, like going through a carpet, pulling the threads up.
Right. I try to look at it from a rational way. So you're having a belief, that's a thought you're thinking a lot of the time, and that comes from a certain feeling. From that comes a certain feeling, and then you attract other thoughts, and that's then the Paul that's talking. But if you realize you're focusing on a certain thing, just be aware of it, and it stops, and then you can try to find a more neutral place, and from a neutral place a more positive place comes. And when you do that for a long while, the connection in your brain stops. I don't know exactly how it's
what it is. You're working out who sat there. You're working out, I've got 4 or 5 characters here, and I can interplay them, knowing full well who they are. But you've got to find out who's inside of your head.
Right,
that's the key. And you're going to say, and it sounds mad, because if you say to one of your friends, "Oh, I'm doing the thing at the moment," find out who's inside my head, they'll go, "You're crazy." But if you're that way, you're that way. It's just this kind of way we are. And we're not nuts or anything like. Well, you think if somebody's driving, right, and then all of a sudden they're driving, and all of a sudden they're thinking of the tea, or they're thinking of going on a holiday in 2 weeks, and you say to the person when they get out of the car, "Do you ever have a voice in your head?" They'll go, "No." I'll go, "Well, what have you been thinking about when you're driving?" They'll go, "Or the holiday." Or say, "What was you thinking about changing gear or the indicator in the car?" They'll go, "I didn't think of it like that." But when you bring it up into thingy, you've at least got 2 perspectives of the internal conversation. But with Aaron's going through, because obviously he's what it was. Obviously, when I can't remember her name now. It'll come to me. But when she was there, obviously it gave him somebody to be with, and this, that, and the other. What's up with Aaron is he's like me. He's an isolationist. When things get like too much, or when he's got, like, say, get to a point where he's in isolation. But I don't even know. Sometimes I still isolate myself. I might not see anybody for 3 days, and I think, why am I doing that? Because what's happening is, in that time, it's like being in a dream. You're processing, you're working, you're out, you're getting your own level of vibration. But like we say, with it being too much on your own, then your mind just starts making up stories, information to fill the gaps, and it's not healthy, to be honest.
No, it's not healthy at all. And I'm really glad that I've already found that out at my age. Because I don't want that, man. I've been doing it for a long time, and I don't want that shit. So I think also for you guys, it would be good to, I don't know what you're doing in your day-to-day life, but to strive towards a more healthy, socially rich life.
But the thing is, you'll find out is, it's like with Aaron. What happens is, he'll come across, he can speak to any age, I can. But the thing is, you go out these doors and you try and find your own kind. They're non-existent.
But that's the problem. When you look, I now always try to come at it from a vibrational point. So if you have the vibration of, I'm trying to find someone, it's like, so you have to find someone. It's like someone is not there. You have to look for it, and you probably think like, oh, the world is so big. Where am I going to find them? All this other shit comes up. I know it. Quit it. You should or try to focus on it's already there, or find a more neutral place and then go out and not think. And when you don't think, it's like, and you get in, and all the positive things come up. If you're in the flow, all the positive things come up like that. I know that it works like that.
But you got to look at it as if to say, you can only see me sat here. You don't know my experience. You don't know the things I've lived. You see,
right?
The holidays I've been with, the women I've been with, and you see me sat here, and you think, oh, it's not fair. like you said to Aaron, and you're showing like you say, talking to me as you're talking to me. But you can only see that in Aaron. Aaron's obviously got a daughter. Aaron's been married. Aaron's this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I've lived with like 20 years with women with kids and everything.
Yeah.
I haven't got any children myself. But the thing is, I've lived it all.
Yeah.
And the question is, when you get to this age, when you're this kind of you get this spiritual essence in you, Rowan. You've got it all to go through. I'll never tell you how to live your life. I'll only give you little bits of advice, but you'll make mistakes, as we all do. But those mistakes are the greatest of lessons, you know.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, and you get to a certain level, like same with Aaron, and it's a case of you look back. This is how it is. You look back. It's like looking out back over a bridge, and you've travelled 40, 50 years. You look back over the bridge. You go, oh, I remember that. I remember that. And then you think, shit, if I knew what I knew then, I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
If I knew I would have took a different turn there, that would have changed 10 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And you get this is the mind. It's incredible. You're going about it the right way, because you're seeing now, you're getting a feedback from us, looking forward, thinking, I don't want that. But the fact of the matter is, don't think in any shape or form there's a deficit, because like I said to you, when we've been in relationships, when we've been doing this, we've been doing that, we've always had ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron's always had himself, I've always had myself.
Mm-hmm.
And myself can go on a flight of fantasy, and I don't see anybody for like 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden I'm around thousands of people because of my business. But in that time, I've gone into my space of, like you said, you create your space that you're at the moment trying to get away from. I was exactly the same. At 14, I used to go to bed early and create islands in my mind, big islands in the Mediterranean, in the what they call it, Caribbean islands. I used to build them and build houses on them and all this visualization. But you know, it's like an artist. You see, an artist, you can't take the art out of the artist.
No, it's true.
You know.
But yeah, the reason I was basically in my room all the time was because I had a certain fear and a certain feeling, and I was just running away from it, you know. I don't think it came from a genuine artistic place or something, because when I look deep down in my heart, I just want to have fun with people, have like-minded people around me, and I don't even want to have deep conversations all the time. I just want to feel good with people, have a laugh, you know. That's what I really want.
You mean let yourself go?
Yeah, and I never really dared to do that. And I sat in my room all day, acted like I didn't care, and I was a lone wolf and nobody liked me, you know, so I didn't have to face that feeling, you know, of I just want kinship, you know. I recently found out that I really like hugs for you know, stuff like that, and I can be really soft with people, especially.
What did you say? You like what?
Hugs.
Hugging, yeah.
We never really did that at home, you know. They were actually pretty stiff and rational.
I know about stiff fucking parents.
Yeah.
Again, it's exactly the same. You see, we've all got a common link there.
Right.
You see, it's the experiment that they did upon us. You see.
Yeah, it's true. But I'm really glad that I'm talking to you or to Aaron or whatever, because it really makes me realize what I do. It sounds maybe a little bit fucked up to say it like that, but it makes me really realize what I want. Even talking about it, you know, actually being not afraid to talk about what I want, you know.
Yeah, because when you're talking to me or Aaron, what we do, we're talking to you, and we're trying to tease out the aspects that are within you that we're holding you back, and then we'll come behind them, and then it's like the Chinese or something like that. They have a therapy of like a little ant with a sweeping brush that goes in the mind just before they go to sleep, and it cleans all the memories out. It's exactly the same. So all your mind is doing, as we're talking now, it's rationalising your perspective from a different viewpoint, because I'm answering you back, and then your mirror neurons are building a pathway, as if to say that I've got all the capability, as much capability as anybody else. Because I'll tell you now, what a woman wants more than anything is a true-hearted man.
Yeah.
Not the big, like, muscular guy or this and the other. They want a true-hearted man that's true. Yeah. And that's all they want, you know. Doesn't matter how you look in your face or anything like that. It's just a case of they want a true-hearted man that's kind to them and look after them. That's all they want.
Right.
Simple, you know.
Right. And I went way too deep with that stuff as well, because I was insecure and I felt like I had to compensate it with some kind of teaching or whatnot, but it just doesn't work. You know, I was basically acting like the teacher that was teaching it to me. But it was really interesting because that astrologist of I go to is also a
Yeah.
dream interpreter. And at some point I had this dream. I was in a plane with some of those dating coaches,
Right.
and the plane went down, and I was the only one that survived. And then I went back to my astrologist teacher, and she said, "Well, I think this means you should let go of your teachers and try to learn how to fly your own plane." Because the other thing was the one behind the plane, you know, flying it. Yeah,
Cockpit.
yeah, right. Was also one of those teachers. You know, there was this whole thing going on in the dream. You know, and I was thinking about it, and after that, I've let go of most of those people and try to just listen to my own, basically, because I was, even when I'm talking to you or certain women that make me think of my mother, I'm always trying to find some kind of is this right what I'm saying, you know. I'm actually proposing things I know are right, and I want to hear from you or from others that it's true, you know. But I already know somewhere it is true for me.
Of course you do. You know,
Yeah.
you know deep within your heart it's true.
Yeah.
And another thing is, Rowan, that I've learned over the years is that if you want to change a bit of information, you can say into your mind, "I don't want to do that," and then you just think that's the end of it. But it takes about 4 to 5. It's between 4. Depends on the person. Between 4 and 6 times of not wanting that for it to even start leaving your memory bank. You know, letting it sink lower into your mind. You know, what you've got to do, you've got to look at the moment. There's bits of information that's floating at the top of a pond, and you want to kind of push that information down and let new fresh water rise.
Right.
And as the fresh water rises, there's a pond of opportunity, and all the stagnant water at the top is going to be pushed down. So it's a renewal stage. So at the moment, you're just like in a renewal stage. It will take time, but it's a case of you just being patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up in any shape or form, because then you'll put yourself into a position where you're being like a purgatory in the middle of nowhere.
It's also about the action, because, you know, I do believe now that I shouldn't push myself to do things I don't want to. I should try to find as much ease before doing it, but eventually it is about doing it either way, because it will create new realizations, because it's weird. Action is important in some way, because I was rather late with kissing a girl, for instance. And I always had this nagging thought in my head of, oh my God, I haven't kissed a girl, you know, shit like that. And then I did it, and it took me literally one day, and it was gone completely. Only because my mind had evidence of, oh, he has done it, so this thought is bullshit, and then it was gone. And it has been so active for a long part of my life. It was so strong, and it felt so shitty to be the guy that hadn't kissed before, and then it happened and it was gone, you know. And the kiss wasn't even that good, you know. It wasn't even as magical as I thought it would be. But yeah, it's stupid, you know. And all of a sudden it's gone. You realize, like, oh, this was just.
Well, if you're all of a sudden in a position where you think, oh, what's all these thoughts? All you've got to say to your mind is, get out. I've got to get out of my own way.
Yeah.
You say that word to yourself. I've got to get out. I've got to get out of the way of it. Or get out of the way. I've got to get out of the way on my own. I've got to get out of my own way.
Right.
Now it sounds bizarre because you're in the way of yourself. You see.
True. I say to myself, okay, I'm feeling bad, but it's only a chemical reaction. It's not who I am. You know. It's just I'm feeling like this because I'm tired, or I haven't eaten yet, or because this and this happened. It will pass away, and then I'm neutral again. And that also helps a lot, because usually people will. Put extra gas on the thought or belief or emotion because they identify with it. They will be like, oh, I feel bad, and oh, poor me, this and that. And I'm not saying disengage from your feelings, meaning it's good to accept them and all that, but don't dwell on them too much.
But like I said to you right at the very beginning of the conversation, you guys, the problem with you guys is you saturate with information because it's 24 hours, 24/7, 365 days of the year. This information. When I was like your age, it was a case of, oh, hold on a minute, I'm having a bit of a spiritual awakening here. Oh, but I go to the library. Or when's your library open? No, it's Saturday. It's not open till Monday. Well, they've got the book in. Oh, fuck, they ain't even got the book in. Get the book 2 weeks later. You look now, it's like bing, bing. I imagine how complicated it is because, I mean, I've gone through the gears with this internet age, and I can see how it's speeding my mind up. You know, I said to Aaron on a conversation yesterday, was talking about God, Allah, this, that, and the other. I said, in 20 years' time, these things we're looking into now are gods. These are the idols. The laptop, these computers are gods. You know, we don't think they are, but you know they are.
Right.
They're the year 2017 deity, aren't they? They're the thing. They're the answer to everything.
And they're also a substitute for our own rationality, and they also replace our trust in ourselves. Because when I felt insecure in my life, I would immediately go on the internet and look up what does this feeling mean, or
I see what you're saying.
Videos on how to better it, while it actually was about accepting the feeling and then find a better thought. But the other thing is I wouldn't have known that without all those videos and stuff, you know. So I've learned a lot of shit.
That's very interesting. Let me just put in there, because that's just a perfect example of this information. It's a bit like if I had a thought when I was younger and I couldn't get to the answer to the thought, I'd know within 2 hours that thought would be gone. I just thought of this now and I didn't build on that thought. So isn't that bizarre? It's almost like you've got a thought, then you look for this thought, then you get the answer, then that answer leads you on to somewhere else, then you find something else, and like you just said, then I've got the answer to it. But any of these answers we've got, there was only relevant at the time it was happening. Yeah. So isn't it bizarre? It's almost like it's like feeding the mind, but is it good or is it bad? I don't know.
I think it's about balance. I do think they have can have a good purpose, computers. But you can also go the wrong way about it, you know.
Well, this is an human interaction. We're not in the same room as each other, but we've got human interaction, which is incredible. You would not even have this 10 years ago. Right. So it's got brilliant things there. YouTube, you've got brilliant information on there if you know what to tune into.
Right, but even water is bad if you drink too much of it, you know. It's all about balance with everything, you know. Everything that's healthy for you can also be bad for you. I think it's about that. I don't think it's... And maybe computers is a different thing, because I've read things about a certain radiation coming from the screens. You know, maybe that's not good. But yeah, we can't do anything about that anyways. We have Wi-Fi all around us and other kind of.
We don't know any. We're not going to know for 10 to 20 years what all this stuff's doing to the actual being, because we are an electric being. You see. We are a transmitter receiver, the highest power.
True.
I believe that what happened is when they created these systems, they knew how the human was working, and they've mirrored the human. Nothing ever has been invented, you know, that's not already here. It's only a mirror image of something else. So I believe this technology that they created is going to. I was watching something about 2025 now. They believe that the computer will overtake the human mind in its power. You know, it'll be literally sentient. That's like 8 years.
Right. That's really scary, I think. Isn't that some kind of a conspiracy theory as well, that the Illuminati want to replace their own bodies with sentient robot bodies and control the world and all that? Or they even want a large part of the population to live in robots.
Rowan. Yeah. We're being controlled. We're being fucking brainwashed now.
Right.
You just said. We can't even see outside this now. We're in it. We're immersed. We're like in an ocean.
No.
And it's like saying to the shark or the fish coming past, "What's it like in that ocean?" They go, "What ocean?"
Yeah.
You know, we're in it.
But I don't think. I think human life always will have this, because even the cavemen, they would be dependent on whether there was any mammals around. So if they would live very nicely at this place, but there weren't any deer around.
Yeah.
And a group would travel around and would find out that 20 kilometers away they would have a lot of deer. They actually would have to move to that place, otherwise they would die. And that's also some kind of
Yeah.
control kind of thing. It's maybe natural, but yeah, man, it's still the same principle. I don't think humans can be completely free. We're always dependent on higher powers, on food sources, on everything. I think the idea of being a free being is maybe something that happens
It is a scary thought
when
then.
you go. I think that we came here to limit ourselves, to learn stuff and to grow. And maybe what's happening now is not healthy, but I think a part of it was meant to be like that. We need adversity to grow.
Well, we was talking the other night, and there's two things that came to light. It's a case of, have we built this system, or has the intelligence that is everywhere on this planet used us as like cows in a field dragging a plough?
Yeah.
And we had no choice but to create it.
No.
Because you think about it. You think about it, right? What can it gain from it? We're going into we're not going to conspiracy theory. We're going to conspiracy fact. If you look deep into it, it's saying that what will happen is in 225 or around that area, the computer will then get to a point where it's sentient, and then what it will do is it will look at us and it won't do anything to us. But what it will do, it will then take over the reins of creating its higher-powered version. Okay, and then what they're saying is, then it will create the fact that it wants to go to interplanetary dimensions, as in hyperspace, because it doesn't need oxygen, and then it'll just cast out.
Want to hear a wacky thing? I don't think it will get that far. I don't know. I have a certain feeling that things are going to change, and I've had a few really strange experiences with.
What do you think? The economy will prevent it being?
I think a lot of things will happen. I don't know what your stances are on this, but I've had experiences with with beings from other places.
Okay.
I've had really weird experiences, and
Tell me the first time you've experienced this, and then kind of go through it a little bit. Talk, if you don't mind.
When I was 15 or something, I found myself basically. I felt this really yearning for someone to come down and help everyone. I was looking at, I don't know, nothing really happened, but I was looking at the sky and I felt all of a sudden this come, man, and I wasn't projecting stuff on the sky. It felt like someone was there, and then I never really had any interest in UFOs, and then I began to look into it a little bit, and from there, I've seen objects. I've had really strange dreams. Once I was looking outside of my window, and I saw this long cigar-shaped object, and then I felt like this sucking. But it was a really particular feeling I can't describe. And after that, I've felt it a few times as well. And then I would wake up in my bed, stuff like that. And I've seen a few objects as well. I haven't seen like the standard UFO thing, but I've seen formations of objects, and also coming on certain times that were really weird, and when I was feeling bad and stuff, I don't know. I know when I'm like projecting once on things, for instance, if you really want UFOs to be real and you see a satellite, you could think like, oh, they're here too. But it was really, I've had that as well, but those few instances, it was a really weird thing going on. And then those dreams, and I've talked with people as well. I've heard strange stories. It's a feeling. I feel like
I know what you're saying.
they're looking out. Someone is looking out for us. And I don't know, man. I feel like it won't get that far for some reason. Maybe not for all of us. Maybe for me or for I don't know. But I don't feel like it will get to shit. I don't believe that. why would I be here? I have the naive idea, like, why would I be here if everything would go to shit? I don't believe that. Maybe it
Yeah,
will happen anyways, but I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
believe it.
But like I said to you, all we are. Look, if you get like a spoon and go onto a beach and pick the spoon full of granules of sand up, there might be 10,000 grains of sand, and throw them up in the air. That's all the universe thinks about our body. It's just a disposable fountain of little grains of sand. It's not that the power is it. The power is the consciousness. The power is it's like an artist. All we are is the brush of consciousness. That's all we are. We are the brush, and the canvas is the earth. And that's all that's all animals are. They're using us as like conduits to create.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're saying there, with this, we won't get to that point. If you think about it, it really sums up the fact that are we in circular history, as in like people believe that we're in a simulation context, that we're in this simulation that kind of replays itself and restarts like a reboot. And who's to know, Rowan? Because we know the history so far back, but we know what's on the earth. There's bones there to say there was kind of Neanderthal men and things like that. But a lot of it is the speeding up of the technology in the last 10 years is phenomenal. That's all I can say. You was how old are you now? 22.
Right.
So yeah. So at 12, you look at here's one for you. Here's a scary thought. Say a child of 5 has got a tablet in front of them, tablet computer. Every time they want to know information, they go into the tablet, right? What's that, mate? What's that doing? Do you know what that's doing? That's the actual tablet is holding your subconscious prisoner. Because if those tablets go down, that child has got a fucking barren subconscious.
It's true. And you don't rely on yourself anymore. You feel like, oh, that thing gives me a good feeling. Now it's gone. What do I have to do? I have it myself.
So it's a digital subconscious, you see. It's a consciousness. It's a level of consciousness, but we can't quite see the end of it yet. But this is what I'm digging into, and I see it. It's got good points again, and it's bad points. It's got negative and positive. But normally the human being will fuck it up because it just messes things up. It always has done. It just messes things up. It just gets too greedy. There's too many greedy people who want to use it for darker aspects. A bit like Star Wars kind of film. You watch them films, you get a lot of knowledge of what's going on because it's in there. Because it's visionary, you see.
But if everything is about energy and stuff like that, us talking about this shit and other people talking about similar stuff should change something in the energy field, maybe of a certain place or of a certain, I don't know. I do think it at the end, the Earth is a big energy being. It's one big vibration. Cities have a certain vibration. There are certain vibrations between people, and I feel like if certain vibrations are started, it might attract. I think if more people begin to talk about,
you're on about like a critical mass, aren't you?
What do you say?
Called a critical mass, where there's so many people all gathered together and they've got the same idea.
Right.
Thousands of people believing the same thing.
My teacher says that there are a lot of people from my age like me, and that the more confident I'll get, the more I'll attract those people. We'll attract each other, and you will have like groups of similar people changing stuff, So you have like certain teams, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that we are all going to do the same kind of stuff. But for instance, Shores is all about shamanic kind of stuff with the drugs. And, I don't know if that would be something for me, but maybe I'll do something else, But it's more about some baseline, of wanting to change or already being changed, not fitting in this system. And yeah, I don't know. I've already encountered a few people that I feel like are like that, but most of the people I encounter are maybe a little bit like that, but they've drinked it all down, or they are heavily on drugs not in a good way, and I don't really want to hang out with people like
No.
that. I have a really high standard for myself and also
Hmm.
for others. So yeah, I should
Well,
be aware of that, you know,
well,
because
what's happening is, like you're talking to Aaron, you're talking to me, and you talk to other people, well, obviously older than you. We're passing the baton down to you because this is what it's about. But I'm telling you, 30 years ago, this has been impossible. So there's something going on. Consciousness is becoming awake. I think consciousness has been pushed down for thousands of years, and I think consciousness with the computer, it's with the computer age is rising. And once consciousness rises, people don't understand what this means. It means that borders will fall, religions will collapse.
it's
And that's
already
what's going to happen.
happening. It's
That's what's
already
going to happen.
happening. Yeah.
Well, what's causing it? It wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the computers. Because look at like the Arab Spring a few years ago with Egypt. All that was infiltrated through the internet.
From an astrological perspective, you know, you just have cycles, and it's all about symbols. You know, technology, computers have to do with a certain symbol, and that symbol has a lot of connections around this time. So the computers and whatnot are like a manifestation of a certain energy that's now, you know, rising, and that energy comes from. It's all cyclical, you know. It's all happening how it's supposed to be, and in those energies you have all these potentials, all these people born, and how it will play out is all up to them, but it's up to me. I can't fucking change you or change Aaron or change those people. The only thing I can do is live my life as best as possible, try to enjoy it as much as possible, learn as much as possible, and go out of my fucking comfort zone. In my case, show myself to the world, not only for myself, but also for people next to me. My little brother of 16, of 17, he has similar things as me. I have to be his example. People in my work I see struggling, you know, by showing them it's okay to do certain things or to be a certain way, I can inspire them as well, you know. I think it's much larger.
Listening to you last 5 or 10 minutes, you're energized because you're talking at the level of understanding that, you know, as we've gone into a totally different subject now. Now you're in the area where you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because you're going, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. So you see, it's in you to be this kind of.
I know it's in me. This is the me, you know. But then this Skype chat will stop, and I will sit on the bank, and I will think, but what if this happens or that, or blah blah. But it's already a lot less than it used to be, and I already see a lot of progression in it. From an outsider perspective, it might seem like I'm not doing a lot, but actually mentally I'm doing a lot of work. You see a lot of people doing physically a lot of work, but they're making mistake after mistake, attracting all this shit. I'm doing internally a lot of work, a little bit of the physical, and then when I actually go do the physical, it will get a lot of better, you know, I think.
If you on YouTube, if you put the word in, if you remember this, put the word in humans are a virus, right? And watch the documentaries. They're only like 5 minutes. There's one on like showing you that the virus that we are is not natural. We've been created to act like a virus. Like we go to work, then we consume. We go to work, then we consume. Then people get obese. Then they go to hospital. Then they have to pay £10,000 for the operation. Then they go back out eating again. It's like we're in this kind of bizarre dance that nobody knows they're doing. It's really bizarre.
Aren't you wondering what would happen if we get out of that? What would happen? Because I think that's something I've discovered as well in myself and others. People like to be told what to do because, for instance, I was talking with this coworker of mine and I told her, when are you going on a vacation? She said in November. I never really go in the summer. I said, well, yeah, I wouldn't know what to do at home. You know, people go to work, people do all these things in a structure kind of way because they don't know what to do with themselves, and that's also something that's been
brainwashed.
Yeah. And I still have that brainwashing going on as well. When I'm done after talking with you, I have like 5 other videos set up to watch, not even on heavy subjects or something, but at least something to watch because otherwise, you know, I would be on the bank doing nothing while I probably could do a lot of other things. Or if I would just neutralize myself, I could attract impulses on what to do and stuff, So yeah, man, it's there's so much work to do, and I think it all begins on the individual level, and you begin to raise your energy, you begin to attract things, and the more people do that, the more things will get better. But it's all about not getting stagnant. You should always try to improve.
You fill your own battery up first, and whatever overflow you got, you give it to other people. You see, and then what happens is they will then look. If I say this is how it works, you'll get to a certain level of understanding. You'll speak to somebody, and you'll think, I gave them information. Are they listening? But you've got to feel how you feel after it. After you get that information out, it might double your energy. You don't even realise it because you're passing it on. Right, so Aaron said to me the other day, he said, am I reaching anybody by doing all this speaking on YouTube? I said, of course you are. What are you talking about, man? Of course you are. I mean, I went back a year last January. He was going, I don't even know what, he didn't even want to do it anymore. I said, you've got to try and reach out to other people, which he gradually did. And now he's talking to you lot, this, that, and the other. But he was going to dump it. He wasn't going to dump it, but he didn't know what to do with it. And I said, if you start Skyping with people, you're going to create like a network of people. And now this is what he's done, which is what? Bloody hell. Year and, 18, about 15 months later.
He's been doing a good job. I was wondering, by the way, is he going to your place or something? Or are you planning on meeting him? Because he told me he was going to England, but he didn't really tell his plans.
Yeah, he's going to his daughters, and he's going to see Guy, and then he's going to see me. Yeah, so he's about for a couple of weeks, I think.
And then he will get back to Portugal. He doesn't know.
Who knows? I mean, he won't stay here because he just doesn't like the winter and whatever. But he's got to kind of get his. You see, the trouble I said to him in a video the other week, I said, there is a danger. There's an old saying, it's very old, and it's called, you can get too much time to think.
I have the feeling that he is running away from something, and I don't know what, because I don't know him that well, but it feels like that a little bit. I don't know, but everyone has his own problems.
Well, what's going on? What's going on with this, Rowan? Is kind of you. What happens is you get this. You realise of the power and the aspect of how big you are in the old sense of it all, and then what you do, you ask the question. You go, "What was I? How's that work?" And you ask all these questions, and then you realise you're no bigger than a grain of sand, like I say, on a spoon in the old thing of things. And then it diminishes your ego, and then you have this kind of, as you get a bit older, like Aaron's doing it, you get more contemplative, and then what you try and do, you kind of, it's the old saying, outrun the devil, but you can get, it's an old saying, like I said to you, too much time to think is dangerous, or another saying is, the devil finds work for idle hands. If you've got too much sat around, all the thoughts come in, and all these negative shit. So no, he's not, he's just kind of going through his stages, you see, he's going through his, which he's always done. If you look at him next time, he'll be probably happy and go lucky again because he's in a different phase. But we're all a work in progress. I think we're a work in progress till the day we die. You never get that kind of, I'm sat here in a deck chair. Everything's
Otherwise,
great.
It would be boring. There would be no point, to it.
It's so like what do you want to do? Stay for about an hour and a half, till about 8. What time is it where you are at the moment?
44 minutes past 8.
Oh, it's 44 minutes past 9. So could stay about another 20 minutes, 15 minutes, yeah? Till about
true.
9 your time. That's cool. Yeah, so go on, mate. Say what you're going to say.
What were we... Yeah, it's like television soap, So there's like this build-up. For example, Rob wants to have Jessica, and all these things happen, and then they'll get together, there will be a marriage or something like that, and you'll be like, they will be happy, forever after this. But then all these other scenes happen, they'll get a miscarriage or whatever, so it's kind of like a good example for how the real life is. You'll think like, now I have what I want, but then you'll discover something else you want, or you don't really want what you thought you wanted, and things always progress, change.
It's evolution, isn't it? It's an evolving process.
Right.
You see, like you just said there, you might see people on your age, you might see them like, I've got this picture where they've got this cheesy smile and they're in this brilliant place. But if you look at 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after, they're not there. All it is it's an illusion. It's a fucking trick. Most of them are tricks. I'm watching at the moment because I follow football quite a bit, and all the players are all on these fantastic holidays, right? They're all in these fantastic parts of the world, all taking cheesy photos. And I thought to myself, go back 5 years. Would there be in these places, or have they gone on these holidays so they can just get these cheesy smiles to say to everybody else, I'm gone to a better destination than you? So is it them going on holiday, or is it the process and the system sending them on holiday?
I've experienced with that as well, because when I was 19, all of my life I wanted to travel outside of Europe really bad. And when I was 19, I began to earn some real money. So I booked a trip to Beijing for €1,000 for a week, and when I was there, it was really cool and all that. But when I was on the Chinese wall, I was making pictures of myself, and then I was thinking like, I'm not even enjoying this. I'm just making stupid pictures of myself on this wall for I don't even know why, And that then I had that first realization, and did some traveling after that as well. Yeah, man, it's all about experiencing. Nobody gives a fuck if you went to China or the USA, or they might do for a little while, but that's why I really wanted to go, so I could tell people I'm Max. I'm 20 years old. I've been to China and USA, and this is who I am. But no, that's not who. There's some stupid ego thing that's going on.
Well, it's like this is the age we live in, because a lot of these people, they're probably not even on holiday. There's probably a blue screen behind them. It costs them like $30 to create a blue screen.
Yeah.
Not even there.
No, yeah. I've at least been there, yeah.
It's difficult to decipher what's real and what's not on the internet. You've got to take your feeling with it, because it's very difficult to decipher what it's like these gurus out there. They'll say, do it this way, do it that way. This is for enlightenment. This is that. This is that. This is the other.
I believe it's true for them. Those dating coaches as well. You have some general concepts that are pretty useful, but most of it's always contradicting each other. But I do believe every person has some kind of a blueprint, astrological blueprint, whatever blueprint, and I think certain things work for certain people and other things don't. So if someone says you have to do something like this, and you don't agree, it doesn't mean it doesn't work, but it works for them, or people like him, and it doesn't work for you. For you, something else works, So I don't think there is one way to Rome, and that's something that's well known. But you can apply that to a lot of stuff, I feel like also the enlightenment thing, I don't really know about that. I don't really have an interest in it. I don't really want to go there or get there. So I just want to live a fulfilling life. I want to be happy. I want to learn, teach, and all that shit. Just
imagine that your body and your mind is a vessel, like a Mars rover, and it's been in the workshop, and it's had everything like put in place. It runs perfectly, the best it can run. The best you can only be the best version of you, Rowan. You can only be the best version of you, as I can only be the best version of me. There's no other people go, you've got to be better than this. No, you've got to be the best version of yourself. That's all there is to consider in context in that level, because we've got to consider everybody else around us, because we're all in a union. But if you think about you're an Earth rover and you've got a Mars rover, and that's all you've got to do, and then what happens is, then all of a sudden the rover's moving through this paradigm, we'll call it an Earth rover, which is your body, but all of a sudden, every time you make a decision, the decision's got to be made from back at base, back from the transmission point, which is consciousness, which is the truth. Because every decision we can be making from other people's projections that's put into us.
I think you're always your best self, even if you end up on drugs or making horrible mistakes, because it means that you are always growing. Also, when it doesn't seem like you are growing, when you get on drugs, for instance, there's a reason why you go on drugs. Maybe your parents always force you to do certain things, and you decided, no, I'm going to do drugs. Fuck this. Okay, drugs isn't good to do, but it's a step further, it's another step, and that will lead into certain experiences, and hopefully that will lead into certain ideas on maybe like, oh, I don't want this, and you learn a lot from that. Like what you're and Aaron doing right now. Who knows? Maybe in 2 years or a few months, you're completely different, and you've learned from this experience. You know, you're
Exactly.
you're your best self right now, always. I really believe that. I don't really believe in that you're going backwards or.
Yeah, because if you look out into your age group, what everybody wants you to be is the best version of somebody being shown to you in a magazine.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy.
Stupid.
It's an impossible thing to catch. You can never be that. This is how people are so brainwashed. They look in there and go, "I want to be that. I want to be this." And it's impossible.
Shorts told me he felt this connection between us. I didn't really feel it because I wasn't really paying attention to it. But he said that he felt like I was really on myself. You know, I was really being my own person, and he likes people like that. He has people like that around him as well. So yeah, we're going to meet, and who knows whom I'm going to meet there. But I think that's something I wanted to say. It's good to start little groups of people like this in countries. You know, we can always talk like this with each other, and I'm pretty sure we will always do that. But it's good that from this little groups start forming in communities. You know, I don't know how far you live from Guy or whatever, but maybe you'll meet other people in your town, and you can have like little groups of, and you don't have to call it a particular name. You don't have to call it an Awakened Brave, whatever. But it's about the base principle. Me meeting Shores, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe nothing, maybe it will.
Exactly.
You shouldn't control it either. But
yeah, go there with no expectation.
Yeah.
The expectation you get is what it's meant to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The ego will make the expectation. No expectation.
Shores is going to be my best friend. No, nothing like that, of course.
No, you'll realise it's consciousness stuff. It'll work. It works every time.
Yeah.
But not as you think. No, don't look at it from the ego centric point of view.
It never happens as you want it to happen. Maybe the thing you want happens eventually, but not in the way you want it. It always happens unexpectedly, you know.
Yeah. It's an interesting time because I'm talking to you. We're talking about, and the thing is with it, the key to it all is the key to this understanding this way of thinking is to get as high up as possible to see how it all works, but still be able to come back down at any given moment. You know, you can get up and come down. You got me?
Right. I'm at that point right now. I want to go in again. I'm already going in again. Yeah, but it's not. You always also have to go back again. That's maybe what you guys are doing. Maybe it's a little bit harder to get back in. You know, I don't know. You guys of course have a lot more experience, and you started this journey maybe later, right? Because of
my journey started when I was about 8. In its embryonic stages, not the I mean, I remember when I was like 17, 18, getting these books called Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World and Witchcraft and the mind. How does the mind work and all this lot? So that was like fucking 30 odd years ago, you know. And I'm thinking, what the hell was I doing? It was subconscious buying this stuff. I didn't even know about the word subconscious. I just thought it was me.
Yeah, and it was maybe a little bit harder for you guys as well because, like you said, you didn't have as much information available as we do have now. And yeah, like we said, it has its positive sides and its negative sides.
Well, this is the strange thing about what I was looking at the other night about this this technology, where it says a technological leap. It says what it's actually doing is, at the moment, we're a biological entity with the information on board in our brains or in our aura, wherever the information stands. And what they're saying is this being, this solid state system, which is the internet, which is Google and all this lot, it's draining the information from us, pulling it, gathering it, putting it all in, working it all out, and then all of a sudden it'll get to a point where it'll go, we know it, as soon as all the alphabets in there, all the Chinese, Japanese alphabets, all these Portuguese alphabets, all the numbers, everything, it'll just slow down, then it'll become sentient. That's all sentience is, knowing the whole lot, and then it just comes away, it comes online. So we could be, unbeknown to us, like you say, creating our elevation or our demise. We don't know. Isn't that bizarre? Because listen, if you think about it, sorry, Rowan, I'm talking to everybody. If you think about it in context, if we would go, oh, hold on a minute, do we mean anything? But when you actually weigh it all up, if you go back to the very beginning, was 5 million pieces of sperm heading towards an egg, and we was the one that got through. One piece of sperm got to the egg. The other 499 million, 4,709,000 died. So all them died off. We was just a lucky ticket that got through.
Yeah.
So when you actually then break it as you go forward, then obviously one egg multiplied to two nuclei 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then we built into a human.
Yeah.
But if you work it all out, of the overall expanse of things, when you weigh it all up, it's almost like we're everything and nothing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We're everything and nothing. How can that be? Because that's what the universe is. It's everything and nothing.
It's a paradox.
Exactly.
Sometimes when I was younger, I would think I don't know exactly what I was thinking, but I was laying in my bed and I was thinking about my mother. Like, is she my mother? I don't know. Is she my mother? I think so, but is she? And I would get in this really weird perspective of, I don't know, man. She's just, I don't know. I can't. Okay, this is really stupid that I started this, but because I can't describe it, so it's hard to. But
no, I think I know what you're trying to say. Because here's one bizarre thing for you. If your mother were you was in the womb of your mother and she wasn't taking calcium, you'd have a calcium deficiency now, right? So listen to this one. All your mother or your father was the food that they was eating. So when we all break it all down, there's this spirit in this body. This body comes from the ground. It's built out of molecular structure. But in retrospect, all we can say the mother and father of all of us is the sun. Is the suns give us life. That's our real true mother and father. You know, the beginning of it all.
Didn't you say something about it as well with Aaron about that we are like, because we come from the summers, we are the stars or something. I don't know. That we are star energy or something.
We're stardust. We are stardust. Yeah. Every aspect.
We're saying that, right? Something. We are stardust doing this and
right. Wait this one out. Nobody. This is a bizarre thing. Right. In the morning, you'll have breakfast. You'll have dinner. You'll have tea, and you have drinks along the day. You do that every day. That's all we are. All that stuff on a plate is going into the body, and the body's going, oh, we'll sort this out. We'll send that here, send that there. But all we are is the plate in front of us of the food, and all that food is grown in the ground, and it's all perfectly balanced with us. So if somebody says to us, has this been created by some intelligence? Of course it has. It's got to be. Something is intelligent is creating this. 100,000% positive in that. It's not a mistake. It's not just a conglomerate. I mean, if a meteorite starts coming towards the planet, we've got a shield around the planet to burn the meteorite up. What the hell created that? It's like a force field. I mean, what the hell's going on?
It has been thought out, definitely. And it gives it, even if you have the shittiest day ever. I haven't had that in a long time, but that thought that, you know, there's something going on. It's not for nothing. You know, it eventually will be fine, even if we all die off. What I don't hope. You know, it will always be fine. I really believe that.
Well, yeah. Because what happens is, all that happens is that you'll go offline, but that's still alive.
Yeah.
The transmitter's always alive.
Yeah.
And all you'll do is the inner thing we're talking from now, consciousness, will go back into that, and then you'll go, well, what's that mean? What that means in there'll be a kernel of you in there, a kernel, very small grain of you in there that will be an essence that is aware. And you'll say to yourself, well, how does that work? Because look, all this thing we think we're thinking, who is it gathering information again? Who is it building the computers? We think it's us. We're thinking for something bigger than us. We're sending the information to something that sentiently wants to build, almost like a cerebral cortex in interplanetary space, or some weird shit like that. Every time I've looked at it, it cannot be any other thing than that. Rowan, it can't be, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. For us to be on the planet 80, 90 years, then die, and we're gathering this information up all along for what? For it might as well be monkeys or a cow in a field or a sheep. We've got something higher in our being that's doing something higher than we can understand. But like you said, you look up to the sky, you look up to the stars and go, what's that feeling you get back? I get a feeling when I look up to the stars and starry night. I can feel it in my soul and the back of my neck, the hairs in the back of my neck stand up. Because I know that's where we are that, and that is us. There's no two ways about it.
That's
and
really
then
cool.
then tomorrow you walk down the high street and go, well, what level was we talking at last night? Because it doesn't exist here. Because nobody else. It's a level of vibration we're talking at.
And it's also that when we started this conversation, we were at a certain energy level, and during the conversation, the energy changed, to a certain way. So now we're at this level, but when we close off, you'll get to yourself again and think about certain stuff and think about tomorrow, and it all changes again. So that's why also, but what I wanted to do, and that's how we should end this conversation, also how I started the conversation, I want to be able to fucking control that. I want to be so good at fucking tapping into my own energy that I can be like, okay, I want to be in that energy of how it would feel if I had all these things, and then I would get in that energy for a while, and then it will attract certain things. That's my goal, and I'm gonna allow myself to do that. I'm gonna work towards that.
That's it.
Okay,
That's it,
so
my friend.
we're gonna close off for now.
Yeah.
Thanks. Wait,
okay, then, my friend.
Okay,
yeah,
wait.
and I'll send you. Okay, buddy, you take care. I'll send you a message middle of end of next week. We'll catch up then about 10 days time. Is that all right?
Okay. I just closed off for the viewers. I think it would be good if I uploaded this to YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, do that.
I think it can be very valuable to.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So I have a channel, a podcast. So I think I'll just upload it to that, and then.
Yeah, do that because I've got you linked on tomorrow, and I'll watch it. When you're putting it up tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah, it's good, man.
When you're putting it up tonight or tomorrow?
Oh, I wasn't listening. I thought it was a comment. It was a question. Okay. No. Now I'm gonna upload it, and then
Okay, then I'll link in because I know I got your link anyway. So I've got to put you on subscription. All right, my friend. Man. Take care. Take care, Ryan.
See you.
Bye, mate.
Bye.
Bye, mate. Take care.